So, that cover image looked amazing, but this chapter itself was phenomenal. Hello everyone, and this is Anime Awakening, and today let's talk about chapter 40 of the Blue Box manga series, The One Who's Cool. And yes, both Haru and Karen were cool, but this chapter made them cooler, as we dive and learn more about their past and relationship. Now, one thing among many that I really loved from this chapter was the contrast between Haru and Karen in how the chapter kind of showcases this through Haru's badminton playstyle. We learn that Karen has always been the type of person to push forward and persevere, to try something even if it's new or she's not good at doing so. The example used within this chapter was of course swimming. Karen couldn't swim, yet she joined the swim team in hopes of improving her skills so that she could carry out her dream of swimming with dolphins. She didn't care if she looked bad or embarrassed herself while learning or practicing or training, whatever you want to call it. She continued and persevered until she could at least swim a full 50-meter length. This chapter kind of implies that her never say never attitude applies to everything that Karen tries to do throughout her life and of course throughout the continuation of this manga. So for that, I really do think it's a great showcasing of character trait personality from Karen's character. I really loved that line from Karen in where she states, "Just because I'm bad at something now, doesn't mean I'm going to be bad at it in the future." This line was perfect, as it's motivational. It showcases Karen's characteristics, and was a brilliant line to deliver a perfect message that could help inspire the reader. Now then, back to my point on how the chapter showcases a contrast between Haru and Karen. Karen's personality from her moment she's been introduced into the series to now, and everything that we've learned about her, we can safely assume that she is a forward-focused type of character. Once she has a goal in mind, she's going to do everything she can to ensure that she achieves that goal. So, in terms of applying that to a playstyle in badminton, you would kind of associate that with a player that would go on the attack, go on the offense quite often, and score points, maybe one which will take risks as well, and it probably won't all pay off at the same time, but it will in the long run. That's the type of playstyle that Karen would fall into in terms of like a bracket, where Haru has always been on the defensive. He's always played the safer option when on the court. And that's why he's never been able to beat Shodo, or take a match off him until now. Now he wants to be the cool person. Now he wants to stop Karen from worrying, because she looked worried for Haru in the ending of his first match, going towards Hyodo. So this is giving him the push to throw caution into the wind and challenge himself, making him look cool in the process. Seeing the final sets of panels showcasing Haru diving for the shuttlecock and winning that match point had me personally jumping out of my chair. I was so happy to see this. It was beautifully drawn, and it just encapsulated all of Haru's feelings and emotions he's been monologuing throughout the chapter itself. Like I said, the match action looked amazing and worked magically in adding more emotion and tension to the closing stages of this chapter. And finally, with Haru's character, the emotional inner monologue about how his heart feels like it aches with both love and shame because he's never been able to tell Karen how he truly feels about her. This was a very sweet bit of dialogue from Haru, and I hope Haru gets to express himself to her once Nationals is over. A perfect way I would think to do this would be A, to speak his mind and be perfectly honest with her, and B, take her swimming with dolphins. Because that's her dream after all. And we know that she's been so supportive in all of Haru's badminton dreams / ambitions. So I think that would just be the perfect way to show that Haru does care and remember what her dream was way back when they first met, as well as, of course, just showcasing that supportiveness that both Haru and Karen have continued to showcase throughout this sort of inclusion within the manga. Okay, moving along to Shodo. Last chapter, Shodo told Haru that he would have a hard time reaching nationals next year if Haru couldn't even win a match point against Shodo. Now that statement was made clear within this chapter. Shodo understands Haru's weakness of being too safe with his playstyle, too defensive if you will. Now that Haru has won this point, it makes it so the game between them goes to a third set. Which this is very exciting, because there are a few little bits of details that kind of help make it so it's still a little bit 50-50 going into the last one as to whether or not Haru's going to win or Shodo is going to win. Because if you look at Shodo's facial expression, he starts off this chapter quite bored. But then slowly, as the points start tipping in Haru's favour, Shodo's expression changes. First of all, it turns to urgency, because obviously the point gap is getting closer to 21 for Haru. And then finally, a face that says, "Well damn kid, you got me." And another little small detail that I think excites and sets up hype for the next chapter is the fact that I find it interesting how the chapter's ending did not show us the final score of that set between Haru and Shodo. Like, we don't know if it was close or if Haru managed to win by such a massive margin. This of course is what keeps us guessing as to who might win the match overall in the third set. Because now we've got a Hyodo who actually sees a game in front of him and will try a lot harder. I feel like Haru is going to be in for a surprise in the next chapter, thinking, wait a minute, you can step up to another gear? Okay, so now that Alice in Wonderland inspired cover art I thought was absolutely stunning. I love this. Both Hina and Chanatsu looked fantastic as well. I really like their character colour schemes when it's done in, of course, colour. They are the poster girls after all, and for good reason, I might add. However, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe Karen and Haru in this double colour spread. Simply because the chapter is focused around them, and although I do think we are going to get some different characters in the colour spread soon, I kind of thought it would have made sense having both Karen and Haru here because, you know, it's all about them. Now, we do also get a chapter title card with Hanatsu smiling. It's a pretty cheeky smile, and of course, I thought that this was both amazing because the image welcomes the reader very welcomely, as well as the fact is, it just makes your heart feel warm and fuzzy. Well, it did for me anyway. On the note of comedy, it was very small. Not a lot of comedy here. However, that one panel where Karen introduces herself and then we see her try to swim, that had me in stitches. This was brilliant. So overall, I loved this chapter, as once again we focus on Haru and Karen and the development of their characters, making me want to see them more in the future. So hopefully, we get to see them reoccurring a lot more. Plus, I'm super hyped for the final round between Haru and Shodo. Honestly, it could go either way. If I'm booking this match to end in a sort of dream way for me personally, I would love it if Shodo actually does still win. But then, in the next round, Shodo loses to Yusa, making it so there's still a bit more tension and drama going into the next national qualifier. Because we got Taiki wanting to take down Yusa, and we got Haru wanting to take Yusa down, knowing that Yusa is better than the guy that Haru could never beat. However, I do feel like it would work the same way if Haru won and then got whitewashed by Yusa like Taiki did. But that's all I have to say about the chapter. I do hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit the like button, comment your thoughts down below, And of course subscribe so you never miss a video from me. Until next time though, have a great day. Alligator, madane, goodbye.